Okay, so this video will cover the creation of the jack for the Nashorn tank destroyer. And I'm also going to cover the placement of some other tools, but I'm going to provide a link to them in the Panzer IV videos for their creation, so I'm not going to cover that in this video. So, I'm going to start out by pre-hardening a 1.5mm strip of cardboard cereal box, and also a 2.5mm strip of cardboard cereal box. And I'm going to cut that strip of 1.5mm cardboard cereal box at around 12mm in length. 11's good too. 12 kind of looks a little bit long to me, usually. Although we did measure it against the model, and that's what it is, so 12 it is. So cut the 1.5mm strip into 12, and the 2.5mm strip, cut a 4mm piece off this. Now, this is a bit of a tricky piece to make. So, you might have to try more than once. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of bevel in the top corners of it at a 45-degree angle. And hopefully we can get them even. And we also want to have the piece end at the top with a sort of a flat section. So it's... oh, you might have to try a few times to make it. It doesn't always come out perfect the first time. So, in my experience, take off less than you think you should. You can always take off a little bit more later. And it's kind of a optical illusion as how much to take off. Now you can see against the white, hopefully you can see against the white here, what the piece looks like. So the beveled edges have about the same surface area, approximately, as the top surface. You're going to glue that onto the center of this 1.5mm strip. And obviously one side or the other is going to overhang it. The beveled side overhangs one edge of the 1.5mm strip. And make sure that the bottom, like the non-beveled edge, is flush with the opposite side of the 1.5mm wide strip. Now hopefully you'll be able to see what I do, because that's a bit of a mouthful. So I'm gluing it right to the center. And trying to make sure that this edge is flush with the non-beveled edge of this. And you might have to like move your fingers a little bit to even check that it's in the center. Okay, and once you've got it in place, and especially making sure this bottom edge is flush, or else it won't sit properly on the vehicle, and you have to trim it, which is a bit of a pain because it's all pre-hardened. Lock that down with a mini clothespin, and then cut 2 more sections of the 1.5mm strip at about 2mm long, so a little bit like marginal rectangles, not quite squares, marginal rectangles. Could even be as long as 2.5, wouldn't hurt, but 2 is a good standard. And you're going to glue those to each end of this piece. sort of edge on. And try to make sure that they sit centered. And again, the flush edge with this beveled piece, because you've cut them as marginal rectangles, one end is going to come out over the top. So make sure that the bottom, which is actually going to be sitting along the track cover, is flush. So it'll kind of look like you have a foot sticking out in one direction and a heel in the other. Try to make sure everything's square. And exactly the same thing on the other side. Okay, come off there. Again, flush on the bottom. Foot sticking out to the one side. Now, I'm going to cut one more piece out of this 1.5mm strip. And it could be cut as wide as 1mm. And so, the beveled side, the beveled piece, is on the side facing us. So on the opposite side, along here, that piece is going to be glued. It's just a tiny little piece. And it's about 1mm away from where this foot starts. Here we go. Press that into place. I'm going to have to leave this to dry, but I want to show you there's one more piece to put on. If you cut a 3mm length of pencil lead, that goes kind of on the jack, hopefully you can see this, on that beveled piece. I can't take this apart and show you right now, it's too wet, but it goes from the bottom to the top, sort of kitty corner to what would be kitty corner, except it's cut off. And the bottom side is the side that you just put that little piece on that makes it look like a double foot on one side and a single foot on the other. So glue that to this surface of the beveled part on the outside. And that will complete the jack. Now it's installed. Now the axe and the shovel that are shown being made in the Panzer IV video, the axe goes exactly the same place. The shovel goes either slightly outside, as you can see here, on the track cover behind the axe, or else sometimes I've seen it like attached along the outside edge of the hull. They don't put it on top of here, which looks like it would make sense because this actually all folds up to reveal all the ammo and folds up onto there. So you can't put it on top of there. That would be inaccurate. And the jack, I'm going to glue this pre-made one, goes right behind the light on the opposite side. Now, it doesn't go directly behind it. It goes a little bit inside toward the hull from where that light is. So not quite touching, but not directly behind the headlight either. There we go. And that gets you the tool creation. The next and final video, I'll show installing the track, and then the Nashorn is complete. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you soon.